And we're live. It's Saturday night. Just kidding. It's jonesing for sports, you silly gooses. March Madness is rapidly dawning upon us. And I have received some flack from time to time for saying that college bowl season is the most wonderful time of the year. And I am not going to back down from that statement at all. I am right. You guys are wrong. March Madness sucks. Nobody cares about Cinderellas or the tournament. It's all dumb. Unless, of course, you're talking about the NIT, because that's freaking awesome. That's all anybody that's cool cares about. That's where the awesome basketball teams go to play. But nonetheless, there are some of you goobers who want to talk about Michigan basketball and also want to talk about this upcoming Big Ten conference tournament. So we will, of course, get into that. So don't go anywhere, because we're going to do the thing, and we're gonna get into that right now. Of course, before we get into all that sweet goodness, we do have some mailbag questions, and we got a few of those brewing since the last pod. It has been a few minutes before we've actually put another pod out there, so we appreciate all you guys being active in the mailbag channel on the Discord, which, follow the Discord, join the Discord if you haven't yet already. What the heck are you doing?
Code, you should get on GarageBand and create a Blue's Clues style mailbag intro song for us.
I could totally do that. I think that's a fantastic idea.
I would love that.
Yeah. Okay. That might have to be a thing. But for now, you'll just have to deal with mail time. There we go. Maybe I'll do something with that. Send me that recording later. Anyways, starting us off is KB with this question right here. A lot of hate gets thrown at the "I believe that we will win" chant, talking about the U.S. men's national team. How do you guys feel about it? Travis, you said you were excited to talk about this one. I trust you have some thoughts you'd like to share?
Yeah, like a month ago, I was ranting on Twitter about how U.S. chants suck. They're just the worst. I don't know who it's for. I feel like it's for moms. And that's it. The players can't enjoy it. I don't enjoy it. And then we take those sucky chants, and then we do them in Spanish. And those suck too. I don't know a single U.S. chant where I'm like, yes, that just hits. The best one I know is Wordless, and it's the Viking clap.
Okay, that was it. You that gives me chills.
Yep, the Viking clap is an awesome one, but you go to any soccer team in England and Europe, and their chants are mean. They go together. It's just beautiful. The whole crowd gets into it. It's loud, and it means something. But the chants, it's just Cody and I have been to a few U.S. soccer games. And the chants are just, I hate them.
So not even the "I believe" one?
The "I believe" chant had its moment, and it's not anymore. That moment is come and gone heavily in my book.
Why do you think that is?
Because it like anything that goes too...
Because we suck now?
Anything that goes too mainstream, I think, loses some luster.
It did become very mainstream.
So now you have middle schools chanting, "I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win." And it's it's not cool anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a bad reason, but it's just, I don't like it. So what's the meat of the question?
It says a lot of hate gets thrown at the specific one, "I believe that we will win" chant. How do you guys feel about it? For me personally, that's our chant.
Yep.
And I mean, maybe there's some... but I can't think of too many other nations that have their one iconic chant. But you point to the U.S., it's the "I believe that we will win" chant. Maybe other nations think that just sounds stupid. I know Britain does, but I mean, Britain's just a bunch of salty dogs anyways, because they can't beat us in anything. So even if we had the most baller of all chants, they're going to hate on it. Well, and it could be better, but it's iconic in my mind.
They're allowed to hate because they're the king of chants.
They are and they aren't at the same time. Because, like, a lot of them follow the same sing-songy rhyme. Like, they use the same...
Take it any day over Esta Noche.
Yes, that chant sucks.
That's
sucks
the only
hard.
words I know of the chant, but I just...
it's Vamos, Vamos, U.S., Esta Noche. So it's like, let's go U.S. tonight. And then if this says something else, I don't even know. But yeah, it's terrible. I agree.
Yeah, so there's a video floating around when I started kind of ranting about this of the American Outlaws, who are the fans of they're the group of crazy American soccer fans. At least they used to be. This video shows the leaders who like stand in their box facing the crowd, like leading the chants. They're not outlaws in any sense. They're people who probably volunteer in their schools or go to rallies.
Yeah, I hate that.
They're not outlaws.
Get that crap out of here.
It can be a guy or girl, I don't care, but they've got to have an edge to them.
Yeah, these guys probably vote.
What I'm hearing is Travis wants people to be hooligans.
I 100% want them to be hooligans, but like respectful hooligans, if that makes any sense.
Would you sign off on fan v fan warfare after matches?
No, he hesitated.
He paused.
He hesitated big time.
I only hesitated because Green Street Hooligans is my favorite movie of all time, and that's what it's about. It's in England, and these fan groups, the Green Street Hooligans, they'll fight. They're huge fans of their soccer club, and then when they go to Man City, they take on the Man City fan group, and they're just yelling and fighting at each other, and after the game, they get into like street fights. And it's ridiculous, but it's kind of true. It's happened over there. But no, I don't want that. But I'm torn too. I know we want to keep this a little shorter, but like the Detroit team in soccer, Detroit FC, they're led by some hooligans, but they annoy me as well. They're hooligans. So you gotta win over the people. You got to be a voice of the people, and you got to have a little bit of edge. So to answer the question, that chant, we need something new. We need a new edge to our chants.
Brand, as somebody who, I mean, soccer is probably not your favorite sport. I think that's fair to say. How does that chant appear to you? Does it seem cringe or iconic or somewhere in between?
I have no opinion on this.
Okay. Fair enough. Next question. We're going to shift sports. We're just going to go for it. So, do you agree with the Lions trying to recruit / sign top players? Some names I've seen thrown about. This question is from Jerome. Saquon, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Ramsey. He's also seen Carson Wentz's name get thrown in there by Woodward Sports. What are your guys' thoughts on some of those names and the idea of Lions going after top players?
Oh, my first thought is he said top players, and then he said Carson Wentz.
To be fair, that was a separate question. I did lump that in together. He also said he's heard talk about Carson Wentz. What are our thoughts on that?
I know what he's getting at, but I also think it sounded funny that, are you okay with the Lions going after top players? I'm like, yes, obviously, but I think I get what he means, to an extent. With like you're going to pay a premium for these guys, and so is it worth it? Sometimes I think it is worth it if we can get Jalen Ramsey for a decent amount of cost. Our cornerbacks aren't good.
Huge need.
That'd be huge.
Yeah, that'd be massive.
So yeah, I'm okay with us talking and working it out. And if people want to come to Detroit and it works out in our budget, great. But yeah.
Tyreek Hill would also be pretty sweet. I wouldn't complain about that. Not as big of a need as our secondary. Saquon's
we have Tyreek
one.
Hill at home.
We have the new Tyreek Hill?
Yes.
Exactly. Saquon, though, I don't agree on. And running back is a unique position there where you have people that are worth the money and some that aren't. And Saquon, I would say, is worth the money. But also at the same time, running the ball was not really a struggle for the Lions last year. And so when you have a limited amount of cap space, I really think that all needs to be invested in the defense. And especially considering that at different points during the season, not continuously because they were so sporadic, the Lions were a top offense. And so if you're investing that cap space into more offense, I don't think that necessarily moves the needle on your wins losses too much. So that's one where I'd actually say I don't think you actually need to invest in a top back like Saquon, especially in a position like running back where the move is maybe not to be investing so much money, especially with how fast the turnover is with those guys. That said, I love Saquon. I would love to see him in a Lions uniform, but that's one that I think doesn't make a whole lot of sense personally.
Yeah, I don't want Saquon. Get him all the way out because running backs are not worth it. You can do it. The Chiefs, they had Isaiah Pacheco, who is a fine running back, but he wasn't killing anybody at Rutgers. Michigan shut him down pretty much, and I think he was a late-round guy. So you get a guy who's going to run hard and run fast. You can do that at a rookie contract, and you do not overpay for running back. That's craziness. One thing is Jalen Ramsey is a position of need. My personal opinion is that Jalen Ramsey as a player is overrated. He is good. I'm not saying he's not good, but he's not the best cornerback. And I've seen him kind of struggle sometimes when he matches up with some of the top wide receivers. He's not a shutdown corner. He's a good corner. And the Lions need good corners, but they can't pay him great corner money, which is what he will command. So that's my only issue there. Some cornerbacks like, I don't know, Darius Slay maybe was a great cornerback that would have been nice to have on this team. But yeah, like Travis said it well. If you can get a good cornerback or whatever position of need, if you can get them and it works with your cap situation, we need good players. So yeah, bring them over, but you can't absolutely break the bank because we are still building up.
My own mailbag question for you guys. We're going to ask this one and talk about it later, but just real quick as a teaser for future. Jamal Williams had a great year. We all love him, obviously, but he's going to command a bigger paycheck. Do you re-sign him if the cost is just a hair over what you want to pay him?
I think you do, and I think it goes beyond his production on the field because he's also – it's not quite the same as basketball when you say somebody's a glue guy, but he's a leader in that locker room. I mean, you watch how much he puts into – I mean, not just hard knocks. When he goes on the field, he leaves his heart and soul out there on the field. And I think to lose him would be to lose a piece of the heart of this team. I also say this as somebody who is just incredibly biased because I love Jamal Williams, and I would shed tears over his departure from Detroit. He had a fantastic year. I don't think he necessarily replicates the success that he had this year. This is going to be the best year that he's ever had. But the dude has no quit in him. The dude still has a few good years left in him. He's warranted an increase in pay. Of course, you can't spend an astronomical amount on him just due to the nature of the position. But if you can make it work, you make it work. Because for me, Jamal is that guy.
The other thing is you're going to, I believe DeAndre Swift has got 1 year left after this, and you basically have to choose one of them. Personally,
it's easy for me.
I think that Jamal Williams is an easy choice. DeAndre offers that ceiling with his pass-catching ability, but with his injury history, with what I perceive to be a lack of passion that Jamal Williams has an abundance of, I'm going to take Jamal Williams every time. And so, yes, we just said you don't want to overspend on a running back. I don't think you have to overspend for a Jamal Williams. You have to spend, but you're not breaking the bank. You're not going to pay him Saquon Barkley money or Christian McCaffrey money. You're just paying him Jamal Williams money, which he's earned and I think is valuable to the team. So, yeah, I would definitely want to lock him up. And I think they're probably going to look at adding a running back in the draft. I think that's a high possibility.
Yep. Cody, I think you put words into my brain there with he adds more than just being a running back to this team, and that's valuable to me. So I want him back.
Yep, I think we all got to agree that we got to save all that we can so we can back the truck up for Carson Wentz in the offseason. I don't follow much Woodward sports, and I'm learning there's a reason for that now.
Yeah.
Because that's the most idiotic thing I've ever seen. Goff was better than Wentz even when he was struggling and people wanted him out. Like, Wentz is not what he used to be. He's not worth the price tag that he made. I mean, he's not worth any price. That's the thing. And Goff, he's on the up and up. He ended the season as one of the best quarterbacks. He's not on the elite tier.
Pro Bowler.
But he was I can't say that seriously, but he was a Pro Bowler. And, he wasn't on the Mahomes or, the Joe Burrow level. But he was one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL to close the season out.
Mahomes wasn't even at the Pro Bowl. I mean, come on.
That's all you need.
A loser.
Right there.
What a loser. Is Goff better?
Dead weight. Man, we got some great clickbaity titles just in the waiting for this episode. Goff better than Mahomes?
Is there any more mailbags?
Yeah, just real quickly, what's happening with the Pistons? that's
like
really
that
it. What's
Tank
going
for
on?
Wemby.
Yeah, they're
That's
just
all
tanking.
there really is.
Our stars hurt, and we got all young guys.
We have a Pistons-esque topic coming up soon in one of our future pods that will talk a little bit more about them, but not necessarily what's happened as much as the future. But just a little tease for you guys.
Yeah.
That's what's happening with the Pistons.
That's pretty much it. Jay Ivy's
tanking.
looking sweet out there. Doing all that you can ask him to do on a abysmal Detroit team as a rookie without Cade. And tanking for Wemby. It's going to happen. Last year I took a hiatus from speaking it into existence after, making Cade happen. You're welcome, Detroit Nation. We're bringing Wemby in. So that's all you need to content yourself with right now. We're just waiting patiently until that time comes.
Also, last night LeBron James tweeted these. I don't have it in front of me, but basically he said, these guys suck. My son, Bronny, is better than these guys. This is crazy. That's paraphrasing, but generally he was amazed at the product he was watching. As you watch NBA, he's injured right now. And some Twitter sleuths found out that he was watching the Pistons. So, and you look at the starting lineup that they're putting out there, it's like, whoo-wee. Yeah, I could understand why LeBron would be like, this is an NBA team. So
that's a pretty silly tweet, though. Like, I actually like Bronny. I think he has a really good game, but at the same time, he's 6'2". He's gonna be, I think, a really good college point guard. He creates really well. Like, there's a lot I like about Bronny. But to say he's better than the starting lineup for the Pistons, like Killian versus Bronny one-on-one, Killian is annihilating Bronny right now. In a year, 2, 3, that might not be the case, but that's silly.
Yeah.
That's silly, LeBron.
Well, we've never known LeBron to be
Never lost.
self-confident or full of himself in any way. So you should probably take that for what it is, and that is probably true. Anyways, in the effort of keeping things moving along, I do believe that you had a shower thought for us, Trev.
Oh, I'm
kidding.
sorry. So quick. I have a mailbag question for you guys.
That's not how this works. Post it in the Discord like everybody else.
Please help me.
Fine.
I got a new phone, and it looks at my face to unlock my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to know, did I just scan my face into the Skynet?
Yeah.
And then the lizard people they'll wear my face when they come out of the sewers, and there's probably 5 me's out there now, robotic me's with a flesh face.
They're at least being created. Your face is in the database, so if they need to create Brandon Jones, they can.
Okay.
A lot of that actually did make sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be the lizard people or if it's going to be
Dude,
cyborgs.
well, also
I stayed
Skynet.
up till 2:30 the other night going down a Kanye was cloned rabbit hole. So I'm there with you, Bran.
Okay.
It happened.
Yeah, you're in good company.
I don't know about that.
I worry about the ramifications, but at the same time, it's very convenient. It might just be worth it. So
It's
say
so
hi to my
convenient.
clones out there, and if they do evil things with my face, I apologize in advance for my clones.
That's going to be a good headline.
Yeah.
Brandon's on trial.
You can.
It wasn't me.
do it. I just wanted to sign into my phone faster.
It wasn't me. It was my clones.
I can get into my betting apps now, like, immediately. It used to be so annoying. I'd have to type in a password every time.
Yeah,
Now I just put my finger on there.
Welcome to technology everyone's been using for the last year, Bran.
Hey, I have been using the same phone for a long time.
That's
And
impressive. I'm proud of you.
I finally made the switch to, recent technology that doesn't power up with AA batteries. And it's great, but I'm a little scared.
Yep. Finally made the switch, and he's stuck with Android.
All right, my shower thought, Bran.
Wait. For the thumbnail, can we just have like the
A bunch of Brandons.
the clone army? But like, you've photoshopped my face on a Disney prince. Just put Brand's face on every single clone.
Yes.
All right, sick. That's all I wanted.
All right. This 4-minute portion of this pod, the thumbnail's going to be about clone Brandon.
It's worth it.
Can do. All right.
Wait, one more thing. I'm just kidding. Go for it.
I figured the shower thought would lead into kind of our discussion about Michigan basketball. But I saw someone posted the question on Twitter of, would you rather Michigan be the regular season champion and get out in the first weekend of March Madness, or finish 9th in the regular season but make it to the Sweet 16?
It's got to be Sweet 16.
It's tough.
Listen, I'm just going to tell you right now, that is a dumb question.
Yeah.
That is a stupid, dumb, idiotic question because it lacks context. Because if you're Kansas and you win the Big 12 every other year at least,
Yep.
you'd rather go farther. If you haven't won your conference in a decade, you'll take the conference that you can hang that banner. You'll take that every single time. And there's people who are somewhere in the middle of that. But I hate that question. That said, I'll take the regular season.
Yeah.
If you're Michigan,
If I'm Michigan,
I think that's kind of probably the lens that our viewers, or not our viewers, I guess you
Sure.
said you saw it from Twitter, but our listeners are probably going to examine it from a lens of Michigan.
Yeah.
Does that answer change
I said
for you?
9th place, 8th, 9th. That's pretty much Michigan.
last year, I'll take the Sweet 16. This year, because of last year, I'll take the regular season. It's because I missed the conference championship, and then if I won it this year, the conference, then the next year I'm like, well, I got to have some success in March. It's a trade-off. Ideally, you're going to have a little bit of both, but if you had to choose one, I think generally you're going to take the regular season. But out of context, that question makes no sense, and the questioner should feel bad.
You also want to see progression too, right? Because Michigan had no business being in the tournament last year. So to see them in a similar position, actually a worse position this year, concerning doesn't even cover it, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely. I spoke way too fast because in the context of this season, I'd much prefer them to be conference championships or conference champions and then out the first week. I was a little misleading in the intro. I love the tournament. I love seeing my team make a deep run. And so that was kind of my quick immature answer is a deep run in March covers a multitude of failures in the regular season. I love Cinderella stories, and it's not great when you see a team that's supposed to be like a borderline blue blood be a Cinderella. but it's still pretty fun when they're able to defy expectations and make a run like that.
Well,
But
let me float this hypothetical out to you. I'm going to crush your spirit.
Oh, good. It's already broken, Brandon. You can't.
Have you
You can't
realized-
do anything to me that this team hasn't done 10 times worse to my soul this season.
Have you realized that this team is not out of the tournament yet?
I don't care.
I told
We
Cody
are
that tonight.
2 wins away.
I told
Beat
Travis.
Rutgers, beat Purdue.
Yep.
Good for them. They don't deserve my emotional investment.
Oh, that's
They
the
don't
smart,
deserve it.
That's the smart approach. What I'm saying is, if they were to rattle off 2 wins in a row and get into the tournament and then make the Sweet 16, would you then say, yes, that's what I prefer, over they had a fantastic regular season, won the conference, which, in my opinion, they are at the very top in talent. I mean, that's you see that with guys being named today to the all-conference team. You had 3 guys make that list, which 3 guys on all-conference lists, and you sucked this year. So would you still take that Sweet 16, or would you take the regular season based on that hypothetical that is still possible?
Yeah, you ask me late in March or early April, and I'm still watching Michigan play basketball. I'm going to say, screw the regular season. We're making a deep run in March, baby. It's all that matters. But
I'm the opposite.
You ask me after the season and now, and I can step back from it a little bit and be a responsible adult and say, you know what? It's more important that we see growth and sustainability for the current program that we have in place, the Juwan era. Right now, things are looking shaky. He's on the hot seat.
Brandon, even last year.
But I guess maybe he wouldn't be if he was making deep runs in March again on another so far abysmal year. So it's tricky, but I think you have to prioritize winning the regular season.
Even last year, Brandon, I think, and through this year, I think you've said it multiple times where you're like, it just would be nice if Michigan played good in the regular season too. Yeah, and that matches what you're saying now with a good regular season. But your question to Cody was good too. Like, in a week or two, your answer might change because Michigan could still be playing, and then you're stoked, and the past is the past, and you're got hope again.
Well, that's the thing is I offered that hope to Cody, and he immediately said no, thank you. And I've been in that spot this whole year because we have tried to bury this team multiple times after abysmal loss after abysmal loss. Like, you look back at some of these, like, oh man, we almost lost to Eastern Michigan. We're terrible. And then, oh man, we actually lost to Central Michigan,
who is horrible.
who is at the bottom of the MAC. And you can go through moment by moment this whole season. We were just like, oh, I'm done with this team. And then we'd kind of tune back in because they'd win 2 in a row, two or three in a row. And the whole season was torture. And every time we'd say, they're not going to make the tournament. And then they'd offer us a breadcrumb. And that's why my answer is I would take the regular season, because that means I consistently enjoyed watching this team. And that is absolutely not the case, where I have felt betrayed watching this team. Like, what am I doing spending my time watching a team who does not enjoy playing basketball? So that's where I'm at. I would want the success during the regular season because that's like 90-some% of the season. But
I agree with what
varies.
you said earlier, Brand, that it is a bad question because it varies heavily. Like, imagine if you had no expectations in the regular season. Yeah. And you truthfully were like, hey, 8, 9 seed, that's where we should have been. And then we make a run to the Sweet 16. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But when you have the expectations of, hey, we know that this team is capable. They lost 6 games by 5 or less points to every good team this year. They were so capable, and so those expectations were just torn down that it makes this question kind of weird to answer this year.
And every year, because there's no context.
That's what. So it made for a good kind of debate question, but it also opens the door to kind of our first real topic. Sorry, Code, to talk more about this Michigan basketball team you love talking about.
The first topic wasn't Wentz to Detroit.
It was thanks to Jaron. But not talking about Wentz. would Carson Wentz be a better coach than Juwan Howard?
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah, the Howard dilemma. We thought about talking about just Jet. We've done that before. We had a huge debate on here. I think we all agree on Jace, and then a lot of debates going on about Juwan. And is he a good coach? Is he the right coach? Does he deserve more time? Does he not? Just in general, the Howard dilemma. Where do you guys want to start?
It's a good
wherever
question.
you guys want to start, you guys take it away.
Well, I think the question that everybody's asking right now, and what Travis asked early on before the conversation even started, is Michigan a better basketball team without Jet? That's what the people are wondering. That's what they want to know. What do we have to tell them?
So the other day on Twitter, our super fan Jaron, he put out he tagged Brandon and I in that question. Someone asked it on Twitter, and he tagged us and pretty much said, "Hey, I think I heard this conversation somewhere else before." And then he side texted group text and said, after I had responded and said, "I'm just trying to stir up some drama between the Jones bros today." And I said, "Well, you succeeded in suckering me in already." And then I said, "We'll see what Brandon says." And then you responded, and I said, "Jaron, you super succeeded," because Brandon's response riled me up even more. I made a joke in the tweet saying something like, "Jaron, we were ahead of our time. Artists are never appreciated in their own time." Saying we hit the Jet dilemma problem before it became mainstream on Twitter. The question of, is this team better without Jet, is a complicated one, and I don't think it's that easy because this team's not deep. Is Jet a problem? I would say yes, but is there a solution? I would say no. And so we're, I think, stuck with the Jet problem because who are you going to put in instead of Jet? Joey Baker? And is Joey Baker's defense better than Jet's? Yeah, but not exponentially. Yeah, you could say no, and I wouldn't argue with you.
He can do the basic, fundamental things like box out better. I'll give him that.
Exactly, and that's huge because Jet, whenever I watch games, Cody could probably attest to this, I have been vocally cheering for every rebound Jet gets, and he's been getting more rebounds.
That's the thing. He's been making serious progress.
Yep. He looks like he's trying to, but there's so many gaps in the, he loses focus, and he's just like, where was Jet? So, yeah, those little moments of, where Joey Baker might play better defense, would they be better with that? It's not exponentially better, so I don't think so. I think Jet's offense and his defense is worse than Joey's, but is there somebody you put in that's going to be that much better defensively? I don't know.
No, and the conversation just kind of makes me laugh a little bit because when you brought it up, you would show me stat lines where he'd have 1 rebound, 0 assists, and
always 0 assists.
24 points. And yeah, always 0 assists. And now, like you said, he's starting to get boards. He's starting to put in a little bit more effort. He's not perfect by any means, and like you said, there are lapses, but we're starting to see him do a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And now everybody's jumping in and saying this team is better without him. Get him off the team. We don't need Jet. And it also makes me laugh just because we were on a 3-game winning streak without him. But you look at those games, we have a Michigan State game, which was complicated for more than one reason. Rutgers, which, was at the rack, scored an amazing 58 points in that one without the Jet. But we did hold Rutgers to 45 points.
Mm-hmm.
So, defense, markedly better. Also,
wait a second.
probably the worst offensive performance of Rutgers, maybe even their whole season.
But was it because our defense was...
No, what I'm saying is look at Rutgers' other scores. I believe since Mag got injured, I don't think they've scored more than like 60.
They've been rough.
So
to end the year.
they're just bad.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
They don't have a complete team anymore because of injuries.
And that's kind of my point. Jet comes back. We play Illinois and Indiana away. And that's the litmus test that we're using for Jet Howard. We're saying, we're on a 3-game winning streak against these teams that are not that good, playing games at home. All of a sudden, we have to play these really strong teams away with the entire season on the line, this being a team that hasn't been able to string together more than 3 wins the entirety of the season. And we're going to put this all on one kid? I think that's just ridiculous. So, yes, there's room for him to improve, but I'm with you in that he may have problems, but there's not really a solution. And I don't think you can make him the primary scapegoat here. I think that's wild.
I think that the problems that Jet has shown, yes, they are his problems, but the fact that they exist this late in the season is a reflection on the coaching staff. Because if you're not self-scouting and seeing a player who is not boxing out on a free throw or not finding his man to box out after a shot goes up, who's just not in the right spot at the right time, who seems to be lost half the time, or what bothered me was when he would just dribble around for 20 seconds, not do anything, and he just completely disrupted the offensive flow. He doesn't know his role. Coaches, do your job and have everyone know what their job is. So yes, Jet has some issues. I think Travis said it well. He does have problems, but he might be the problem or part of the problem, but he also is a part of the solution because he's your second leading scorer. And you absolutely need someone who can hit that clutch three because they don't have good three-point shooters on this team, actually, except for Hunter Dickinson, who is shooting over 40%.
Crazy.
You'd like him to be close to the basket because he's our only rebounder. So
yeah, okay, if we're going to talk Michigan issues, this is the worst rebounding team I've ever seen in my life. I don't know the stats, but the eyeball test on the rebounds, we only rely on Hunter Dickinson. It's like the Pistons when they had Andre Drummond. And it's like, all right, he'll get his 20 rebounds and everyone else can get back on defense. Well, this team doesn't even get back on defense. They all get back, and the other team still scores transition points on Michigan.
They get halfway back. They go to midcourt, and then they kind of jog into position.
How does that happen? You're not crashing the boards for a rebound. That's one of the reasons I love it. I do like Terrace Reed a lot, and Cheddar, because when they're on the floor, they give us other rebounders. Terrace Reed actually gives us multiple chances at shots because he's like the only guy who gets offensive boards on this team. And that's huge when you get multiple possessions off of one possession, and Michigan just never does. That is the thing that is the most blatant issue with this Michigan team is the boards, I think.
I hate to stir things up because I think we're all on the same page here.
No, stir it.
Travis, are you willing to concede that part of Jet's problem is, in fact, that he is in terrible condition?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I hate that.
I hate it too. But that was a big part of our last discussion was I was saying a lot of his issues are that he is not a physical specimen. I compared him to how like Kobe Buffkin as a freshman wasn't quite physically ready yet, and now this year he's chiseled. And when we see Jet coming into the huddle, it looks like he's struggling to not put his hands on his knees and just bend over. So,
how high of a recruit was Jet? He was a top 100
he was like
guy.
Top 40.
Yeah, top 40. He's been playing AAU high school ball his whole life. He's 19, in the best shape of his life. You play basketball for a living, and you can say that now for college players. He's played 30 games this year, and we're still talking about bad shape. Like, I don't want to hear the freshman thing about shape anymore. Because you had, like, running up and down the court and effort. Like, I think he's in worse shape because there might be that effort missing on the off days when you don't have games, too.
That's entirely possible. I'm just saying that I think there's a huge difference in the conditioning of a freshman compared to the conditioning of a junior or senior. I think it's contributing to our effort issues because if he gives more effort, he can't play the minutes. because Juwan Howard wants to play him for 38 minutes, which I think goes back to what you said about the depth. They do not have wings because Joey Baker is not what they were hoping he would be.
Dude.
And then behind him, you have no one.
I like Joey Baker. Like I want to like Joey Baker. I've never seen someone be so one-dimensional in my life. Like
he's one-dimensional. He's not good at the one dimension.
Yeah, like he's got a pretty stroke, but it's not hitting at the clip you need it to. And then when you see him go to the hoop, he's one of the worst finishers around the hoop I've seen at Michigan. It doesn't even look like athletic. It's crazy. Not to harp on our guy so hard. We're still in it, Code. So try not to be such a Debbie Downer. But, yeah, the depth is a problem. And that's why I'm kind of letting up on Jet a little bit. Okay, I'm not letting up on Jet. It is a problem, but I'm open to – he's not the only problem. That's never been my stance, that he's been the only problem. I don't like people not acknowledging the problem that I think he is as well.
Okay. So you started the dialogue. You got the people talking. Now all of Michigan Twitter wants to know, do we need to get rid of this kid? And we're going to after this year. He's going to the NBA draft, which speaks to a bigger problem.
I don't know.
We've got 2 potential first-round NBA draft picks. We've got a first-team Big Ten All-American in Hunter Dickinson. And we're in the position we are now. We already probably all agree that Michigan's better without Juwan Howard. How hot is his seat right now?
Well, we're talking about Ward Manuel, so no, his seat is ice cold.
Yeah, same answer.
I think what you just said, we just need to talk about if you were Ward Manuel, what's your stance on this? Is Michigan better without Juwan Howard? Are you moving on, or are you content? Or, well, I should say, are you going to be patient?
That's a dumb question. You want to talk about dumb questions? I will never be able to crawl inside the mind of Ward Manuel.
No, I said
if I were Ward,
you're not him.
Okay. I was gonna say, yeah. If I was completely incompetent, if I was trying to screw over Michigan athletics in every way possible, what decisions would I make? Yeah, sign Juwan to a 20-year, regardless of merit. No, I see what you're saying now. Yeah, that's more the question that I was trying to ask.
How would I know?
How do I know what Ward Manuel's going to do, Bran?
What the heck do you think I'm supposed to do with that? No. That's what I was getting at is, in your opinion, like, should his seat be hot? I don't care about, what Ward thinks, because what Ward thinks doesn't merit talking about. It's not worth it. What do you think his seat temperature should be? And I think it should be pretty dang spicy.
In the regards of this year, I think it's pretty cold still. But I guess the burner's getting turned on. I think next year is his proving year. If next year's the same as this year, I do think he's it's super spicy next year, that seat.
What's he going to do next year?
If I'm losing
so much talent.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a huge talk with him because, like, you're seeing a bad trend. But at the same time, we lost 6 games that were against good competition by 5 points or less, which I would say a lot of that was Juwan's fault. However, if you just have a player who hits a shot or two in that stretch, we win 3 of those games. We're in March Madness. We're the number 2 seed, even 2 through 4 seed in the Big Ten tournament. If we're locked into March Madness and a 2 to 4 seed in the Big Ten tournament, we're still just like when Michigan made it, we were calling out Juwan's late game calls and saying, "Hey, this doesn't look right. We think Juwan's maybe not the best coach at this," but they were winning some stuff. I think there's a realm of possibility where he can turn things around. Like I said, it was 6 games that could have went Michigan's way, and they didn't. I blame Juwan for those. But also, if just some things went his way, he didn't put the dominoes in a place to fall our way, but they still could have. If they did, his seat, I don't think we're even talking about this. it might be. I feel like I'm defending him too much because I think he's been a bad coach this year. But
He has been.
but I don't think his seat is hot yet.
Going back to what Cody said about next year, I have that same concern because if you look at what the starting five would look like, minus a Jet and a Kobe for sure, it is rough. Now, if you possibly take away Hunter, then you're talking about like bottom of the Big Ten. I do think Hunter Dickinson will return. I don't think that there's a lot of options for him right now, professionally, and he can make his NIT or NIL money. Ooh.
Yeah.
But Hunter Dickinson and Doug McDaniel, like that's your entire team. If you're losing both Kobe and Jet, which looks to be the case, which then at that point it would be up to Juwan to try to maybe entice a transfer who could be an effective wing.
And transfers probably don't love playing in the NIT.
You know, that hurts, but I think you do have the promise of a starting role on a team that should be fighting for March Madness, and
True.
Obviously a lot of national attention on your program. I'd say what I think about Juwan is maybe his biggest weakness is it seems like he is entirely dependent on his roster, which sounds obvious for every coach, but some guys are able to get the most out of some players that you would not think you would be able to. I think Tom Izzo is probably one of those guys. I think John Beilein was definitely one of those guys. And we haven't quite seen that yet from Juwan because the guys that have succeeded under him, I think we're going to succeed anywhere. I mean, Franz Wagner, you see what he's doing in the NBA. He's got it. And even at Michigan, it's like, does he have it? And so that's, Juwan, I don't give him a lot of credit there. We're still waiting for him to really unearth a gem. And I think he's got someone who could do that in like a Will Cheddar, and he stifled him all year. So player development, we need that to come along. But Juwan's greatest strength is probably his ability to attract top-tier talent. And one of the biggest issues with this season is that he attracted a top-tier wing that is a first-team All-Big Ten wing, but he was it for Illinois because admissions wasn't letting him in. I think the entire season shifts. I think it's a little unfair for us to put all of the blame on Juwan when he had a player that was ready to come to Michigan, but because of academic crap, he wasn't able to get in. And Michigan, this might be hyperbole. I think that they have a really good shot at being a Big Ten champ with Terrence Shannon on the roster because you have two first-team players and then two third-team players. That's 4 out of your 5 are going to be first or third team All Big Ten. And that's not Juwan's fault. He had him, and red tape got in the way.
No, that's fair, but can we still expect him to make the tournament?
With Terrence Shannon?
Without Terrence Shannon.
Oh, should what Travis said, Juwan was a bad coach this year, 100% put my name right next to that, I agree. He did not do well enough with his pieces, but he is a coach who is dependent on the pieces, and the pieces that he had put together were taken away from him. Mm-hmm. So next year he's going to have a lot of holes that he's going to have to piece together. It's going to be very difficult for him. The way I view this, if I'm Ward Manuel a little bit, or just as a fan, it's kind of like with Michigan football, where back in 2020, I think that Jim Harbaugh could have rightfully been fired as the head coach of Michigan. He underperformed. He was not a good coach in 2020. And after they went 2-6, 2-4, or whatever, they changed a lot about how they did things. And they took a look within, and the very next year, they won the whole thing. Not the whole thing, but they won the conference. And they did it the year after that. And I think if this year is a season where Juwan makes some changes to his staff or to the way they do things, then maybe we can start to see them go back to the results that we expect. Because, I mean, if you look at it with the football example, Juwan actually achieved more in his, 3 years than Jim Harbaugh did in his, 6 before he had that, big change to 2021. Mm-hmm. So, personally, yes, I think we need to be patient. But at the same time, if he was to be fired at this point, I think it would be justified because he was straight up a bad coach this year. And if you go back to the previous years, even with the success, we can point to just bad coaching, bad set plays out of timeouts, and some questionable
rotations.
Yeah. So I'm definitely not going to be pro. I'm 100% Juwan's the guy, but I'm also not going to be 100% fire him. I got my list, though, of some guys I wouldn't mind seeing, but that's what any AD worth their salt is going to do, even when times are good. You got to have your plan B, C, and D, and we got a few of those guys, but nope, we got to be patient because it's time for Juwan to take a look at himself and make a change.
All right, last question. Keep this to a minute so we can move on to the Big Ten tournament. That's going to be hard because this is a loaded question.
Yikes.
Do you take Jet or do you take Caleb Houston this year on Michigan?
Jet.
I take Jet.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No question.
All right, that was easy. I thought it would be a little harder for you guys.
What's your choice there?
I don't know. Because Caleb Houston did everything else and could... Like Jaron said in the debate the other day, boy, I opened it back up. I'm sorry. Give a guy who gives that effort on the defensive end and tries to board and can get you those 5 to 10 points. He's not going to be your leading scorer, but he's also going to keep those points off the board from the other team a little bit better. I think that's helpful. So I don't know. I didn't answer it myself. I was just curious what you guys thought.
I think without Jet, we're struggling to get over 60 most nights. And
so
against most Big Ten teams, that's just not going to get it done. You need to have somebody who can get it done on the offensive end. And so, as we've said time and time again, Jet is not a complete player, but offensively, he's kind of what we needed him to be. And again, even offensively, not completely complete, looks a little lost out there sometimes, but he can get buckets.
I will throw this out, though. With Caleb Houston instead of Jet, we're relying more on Kobe Buffkin in those late moments, who is proven to have some of that it. He can get it done, and he's kind of clutch. And the coach isn't going to draw up a play for his son in those last second plays. And Jet plays a little bit of hero ball. Caleb Houston didn't do that with Kobe, with Doug, Kobe, Hunter Dickinson on the floor. Caleb Houston potentially could just be a spot up guy, and that's all we would need from him. Plus 3-and-D pretty much.
But Caleb Houston also he didn't have the D. Caleb Houston played a lot like Jet, except he wasn't as good at making threes.
But let's be clear, Caleb Houston didn't play hero ball because Caleb Houston could not play hero ball.
I think I saw Caleb Houston's Big Ten's 3-point percentage last year was higher than you would expect. So it was higher than I thought it would be. So it surprised me when I saw it.
Yeah, he was not a bad shooter by any means, but he was never.
Oh yeah, we weren't happy with him.
Offensive
was he one of the ones where it was if he hits his 2 threes were statistically no?
But he was the one where he would hit all of his threes at home and none away.
Yeah.
So you might as well not play him in away games. I'm sorry, I know you got to get to the Big Ten tournament. I got to know. Hunter Dickinson returns or Kobe Buffkin returns. You have to choose one. I didn't include Jet because I don't think there's a reason to.
I hate that question.
I will answer from my heart and not from my brain.
You have to answer from what you want is best for the team.
I'm going to do first my heart, and that's Kobe Buffkin. What's best for the team, though? Having a center in the Big Ten is so important.
Yeah.
I'll play devil's advocate. We got Terrace Reed. The guy is still young.
And he's going to be his second year.
He's developing. He is defensively. He's quick on defense. He can do things in that regard that Hunter can't, because Hunter has cement in his shoes. He moves like he has a dump in his pants.
Terrace Reed bumps to number 1. We've got a freshman center who's a top. He's a good recruit coming in at center to be behind Terrace Reed.
And the transformation of Kobe from year 1 to year 2 it's a night and day difference.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of growth that we could see from him returning another year where he knows he can be that guy. And now Jet's gone. So Kobe is that guy. He's the guy that you got the ball in his hands in a late game situation. We're drawing plays up for him. We've already seen he can make tough shots. Oh, that would be so fun. I think the boring answer is it's probably got to be Hunter. He is the cornerstone of this team, having him down low. He's putting up 20-plus points just about every night.
I'm going to open up another can of worms on that, though, Code, with your butt. When we talked about the engine of the team, Jamal Williams, I think Kobe is a little bit of that with his Michigan team. And Hunter Dickinson might kind of be the antithesis.
Yeah, antithesis.
Yeah, antithesis of that.
Unfathomable power.
Where, I think you've said it before, Bran, where there's nights where it just seems like he doesn't really want to be out there. And there's some lack of effort. It's hard to say when there's lack of effort when he's a first-team Big Ten center and he's putting up 20-10 pretty consistently. But you can see it, there's things that rub off on this team. And I don't want to say Hunter Dickinson is a problem, but there's parts where just like Jet, there's effort things. And it might just be because he's 7'1", and that's kind of what 7'1" guys who are white, what they do. They're just they're
asked
tall
that question.
And slow.
I actually did not know the right answer, or what my answer would be. So I just kind of threw that out to you guys and wanted to see you fight over it, because I think you could probably easily defend both, which you did. So thank you for that. And man, I'd be so happy if they both came back.
Well, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about real basketball and get to the other teams in the Big Ten. Because we got that Big Ten tournament coming up.
Speaking of the guy who said that on ESPN, where they showed a highlight of, I think it was college girls basketball, and then the next highlight was guys basketball, and in the transition he was like, and now on to some real basketball.
Oh,
yeah, it was rough.
Oh my gosh.
It was rough.
I don't think he meant to say it.
No.
It just slipped out of him.
It was clumsy, he was trying not to say it the whole time. It was very painful. And you know what? Shout out Caitlin from Iowa.
Caitlin Clark.
I'd rather watch her than this Michigan team.
I made that
all day.
Because that Michigan game this weekend, Caitlin Clark was in the Big Ten Championship at the same time. Every commercial break of the Michigan game, I'd go, all right, now on to some real basketball. And I flipped it over to watch Caitlin Clark.
She's electric.
She is a baller.
She'll just heave it from anywhere in the court. And nobody bats an eye at it because it's Caitlin Clark. And half the time she'll make it.
Yeah, she's got Steph Curry vibes.
Mm-hmm.
She's awesome.
Yeah. She's got that swagger that just nobody on Michigan other than maybe Kobe kind of blossoming into, slowly growing into that, seems to have. So on to real basketball. Let's discuss some of these other Big Ten basketball teams upcoming in the Big Ten tournament. We're going to go ahead and go through every single matchup, give our predictions for who's going to win and who's ultimately going to end up on top after the end of this tournament. First up in that, we'll jump right into it. We've got Ohio State versus Wisconsin.
That's tomorrow?
That is tomorrow.
Wow, tomorrow, the Big Ten tournament. Or, that's going to be today. We're going to release this tomorrow morning. Today, Big Ten tournament starts. Do we even have to talk about that game? Ohio State's so bad.
I mean, Wisconsin is so mid, too, that
it is a mid-off.
Anything could happen, but, I mean, it has been a season of seasons.
I want to hear a hot take on that.
Go for it.
Part of me is cheering for Ohio State in that game. Is that sick? Is that just the worst thing I've ever said?
I was afraid to say it.
It's because
I am preying on Wisconsin's downfall. And this game, if they were to lose it, might kick them out of the
That's
tournament.
the thing. So cheering for
Where
Ohio State,
they're out.
yeah, doesn't do anything for them to win this.
It's also kind of a sicko mindset, too. Just like, Ohio State is that bad this year. So just to watch them win a game that really doesn't mean anything for them, it's pity points at that point. But for Wisconsin, it means everything. So to see them lose that, it would just be a nice little...
Wow. This might be maybe the second, third time in my life where I'm pulling for the Buckeyes.
So we just going to go ahead off of our spite.
Vibes. Let's
picking
move on
OSU. OSU over Wisconsin. Next game, we have the 14 seed. I guess we should have said the seeds. It was 13 seed Ohio State versus 12 seed Wisconsin. Next, we have 14 seed Minnesota versus the 11 seed Nebraska.
Minnesota, does it show the records on that you're showing?
No, I can pull it up for you
I
real
think
quick,
Minnesota has 2 Big Ten wins this year, and one of them was this weekend against Rutgers with a buzzer beater.
Yes.
Talking about Rutgers struggling. Minnesota coming off a huge mojo win. I don't think it matters. They're so bad.
They are 8-21.
Give me Kisei Tominaga.
8-21
moves on.
for 16-15.
Speaking of Tominaga, Bran, he's your favorite Big Ten player, isn't he?
He is not. But he is the kind of guy that if he's playing against someone you hate, you love him.
Mm-hmm.
If he's playing against your team, you hate him.
He's got that Kraft, Brad Davis energy to him.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of someone maybe because those guys didn't score a ton. Like this guy just puts up shots, and if he makes a 3, he celebrates it like he won a buzzer beater every single time.
So he's got some Hunter Dickinson in him.
I'm afraid his heart's gonna explode because he acts like you would think that he hit a game winner, and like he
Big
looks
vibes
like
guy.
his chest is just like so excited, like. Because there was one time against Michigan State, he was laying on the ground, like in full star position, and just like his chest was like heaving. And all he did was hit a 3, and they called a timeout, and he was just like keeled over. That said, if you're ever cheering for Nebraska, he's so fun to watch. It's kind of like Fran McCaffrey with Iowa. If you are cheering against him, he's the worst. If you're cheering for him, it's absolute theater, and it's a pleasure and a thrill. So in this case,
I think you're in
I'm
rare
gonna cheer for
company,
him.
Bran, of people who aren't Hawkeye fans who are just like, yes, give me more of the theater of Iowa.
you don't want to see a coach that's literally acting like he wants to shove his fist into the throat of an official.
No, I do. I'm with you. But,
I think it's great.
All right, we're moving Nebraska on.
yep. All right. We got another game coming up on Thursday. It's going to be the number 9 seed Rutgers versus 8 seed Michigan. What are you guys' thoughts on that one?
Can I say something real quick? I totally forgot this. The last podcast when we did our mailbag, it was when basically I think Jaron's question was, after this new win streak, are you changing your opinion on Michigan? And I believe I said something like, we all said no, which kudos to us because they did exactly what we predicted. We looked at their next 4 games. We said they're going to beat Rutgers. They're going to beat Wisconsin. And then they're probably going to lose to Illinois and Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the words that came out of my mouth. I said exactly what was going to happen. And yet, I still was crushed when it happened. What kind of idiot tells you what's going to happen and then still is like, oh, I'm so sad.
A sports
What
fan.
is wrong with me? And so here I am about to predict Michigan is going to beat Rutgers and have a chance to play Purdue for a chance to get back into March Madness. And I'm going to do it all over again. I'm going to get absolutely crushed. So just wanted to kind of throw that back to that prediction and then my still inability to separate my emotions from this stupid game. But yes, I do think Michigan will beat Rutgers because Rutgers is spiraling. But some key intrigue, if Rutgers loses this game, they're out of the tournament. if Michigan loses this game, they're out of the tournament. So, man, this has a lot of drama. And it also makes me more nervous because I know Rutgers is trash, but we know that Michigan can be trash if they don't play their game. And I don't know, maybe Rutgers just wants it more.
It would feel appropriate for the season, just fitting the season, for Michigan to lose to Rutgers in a great game, like a game that goes down to the wire. And Michigan probably
45-48.
I'm gonna predict an overtime game. Just another overtime, 45-48.
Yeah, that's the reason you were
Double
still heartbroken,
overtime.
Brand. It's not just
Double
because
overtime,
Michigan
45-48.
lost. It's because they lost in double overtime to Illinois, and then they lost in a heartbreaker to IU. Both games they had the opportunity to win at the end of the game, but couldn't get it done. It was just the most 2022-23 Michigan way to end the season.
I think Michigan gets past Rutgers, but
That's all you need to say for now.
okay.
Moving on. We have the Iowa Hawkeyes versus the plucky Buckeyes from Ohio State who beat the Wisconsin Badgers in the first round. 15 versus a 13 seed.
Brandon said if you like Fran McCaffrey, his antics are fun. Well, right now his antics are fun to me, and so I must like him right now.
You don't have to like him to appreciate his antics.
Okay,
I just
good.
want to put that out there.
This Iowa team's fun. If they're shooting good, they can put up 120. Or if they're not shooting good, they might lose to Ohio State. So I think that Ohio State is going to get whooped here by Iowa because most likely the next game, if Michigan State wins, it's going to be a rematch Iowa-Michigan State. And all of Michigan State wants that.
Yeah.
And that would be epic. So Iowa wins this one.
Yeah, I'm just going to say Ohio State won the first matchup just because we hate Wisconsin. So this is similar to how I do a lot of my brackets. The chances of Ohio State even being in this matchup are pretty, they're not great.
Yeah.
I'm picking Iowa in this one.
Works for me. The one thing I'll say about Iowa is, like Travis said, one game, they might score 40 points in about 10 minutes. But looking at the Michigan State game, that was the most insane ending a team could do. And they scored 9 points or 10 points or something. And then the very next game, they lost their home finale against Nebraska to clinch a double bye in the Big Ten tournament. And Nebraska, despite our praise for Tominaga, is not good. You could not lose that game at home. So that's Iowa in a nutshell.
Yeah, they got Tominaga in that one. I saw highlights of him beating his chest.
Oh, yeah. That guy, his poor chest is bruised, and his hair is shaking. And, yeah, love it. So I'll say, yeah, let's go on the Iowa train, but I'm nervous about picking them. I don't trust them.
Well, we got another one that is going to be a little bit interesting. We got number 10, Penn State, versus the number 7, Illinois University.
This portion of the bracket, I told Cody before the pod, is going to be awesome chaos.
Yep.
I think any of these teams could win the tournament, the Big Ten tournament.
I don't think Penn State can.
I don't think you're right. I don't think Penn State can win the tournament, but they can beat anybody once.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll do it enough to get to win the championship, but Illinois, I think if they play well, they could win that. That being said, I think Illinois is playing pretty decent right now. Yeah, so I'm picking Illinois.
I mean,
but that bully ball in Penn State is fun to watch.
Miles Dread 4-3.
What a great name.
Pounding the ground with each step.
Watching Illinois go into double overtime against Michigan makes me a little doubtful on just how good this team really is.
Yeah.
I don't think their ceiling is incredibly high. Do I think they're capable of winning the Big Ten tournament? Yes. Because I think there's a lot of chokers in the Big Ten, especially this year. But if I have to pick between them and Penn State, I think I am choosing Illinois, just on account of how streaky Penn State really is.
I'm going to pick Penn State then, just to throw the tiebreaker to Bran, because I think Penn State legitimately has a chance.
Oh, absolutely they do.
Well, Penn State beat Illinois this year in the regular season, but man, this is hard because on the last pod, my heart is with Penn State.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was
However,
that was mean.
my brain, I can't quit Illinois. Just like Michigan, I think Illinois, from a talent perspective, is at the very top of the conference. I think
so
Terrence
long
Shannon
and so athletic.
Terrence Shannon is like my favorite college type of player. A tall wing that just gets to the hoop, can throw it down, but also can make three balls at an alarming clip. And then with him, if he's not going, then Matt Mayer, he just killed us.
Mm-hmm.
And I should have seen that coming. I mean, of course he's going to hit like 4 threes or whatever it was. And, of course, my probably least favorite player in the Big Ten, Coleman Hawkins, is genuinely a good player. He is very good at basketball, and he's an asset to the Illini most of the time. So, Illinois, I'm going to pick them to move on. But I'm cheering with my heart to Penn State because a win over Illinois in this case might help them punch a ticket to the big dance. And I want to cheer them on. I want to watch my big, thick boys shoot threes. And, man, Jalen Pickett deserves to be playing in March. I said it before. I'll say it again. Get that man to March.
I agree.
All right. Next matchup, we have the number 6 seed Maryland versus number 11 Nebraska.
Most
Give me Maryland.
Boring game.
This
so
one,
far.
I think I'm going to go Nebraska.
Oh.
First off, the classic 6 versus 11 seed, that's a trap game. 11 seed wins that every time in March. Also, Nebraska played Maryland not long ago, got the dub. Maryland is coming off a 2-game losing streak to Penn State. Also, Ohio State. Before that, they did get a win against Northwestern. So, you're going to be prone to ups and downs. But this Maryland team, not the pinnacle of consistency by any means. There's going to be upsets in a conference tournament. This is one I could see happening. And so I'm comfortable saying Nebraska could get this win. So they got my vote.
I'm fine with that. Yeah, let's just give it to Nebraska.
Brandon, did you have thoughts on that?
I have no belief
I
in
already
Maryland.
said give me Maryland.
Okay.
I don't think that they're great. I don't think that they're a team that's going to win the tournament. But just like baseline, I think that they're
better than Nebraska.
They're just a better team than Nebraska. And
none of that
they
matters
do have
in March.
some good players.
Who would they play next?
They would play IU.
Okay, it doesn't matter. Let's send Nebraska through.
All right, well, the next...
I don't want IU to get Nebraska.
That's
dumb.
what's happening. Sorry, pal. Next on the docket, we got U of M, 8 seed, taking on the number 1 seed, Purdue.
Choo-choo.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we're already all in agreement of what will likely happen in that matchup. Double overtime victory by the Boilermakers. Once
Chance
again,
to win at the end.
ripping our heart. Yeah, they'll probably actually get like 3 chances.
What's the most heartbreaking way we could lose when we have a chance at the end? Maybe like a celebration technical after
foul.
we
Technical
went
foul.
up 1 or something.
Yeah. That's where my mind went.
Yeah.
We already had
A timeout.
We already had an
When we don't
instance
have a
where we only
timeout.
had 1 timeout for the entire second half. Let's take it a step further. No timeouts. Who would be the one to call it?
Hunter Dickinson.
Think Hunter?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Jet.
Maybe. Anyways, Purdue's going through. Any thoughts on that before we move on?
If Michigan wins that game, they're in March Madness.
So which means they'll find a way to lose it in the most gut-wrenching fashion.
What time is that game? Does it say?
That's going to be 11 a.m. Central Time because apparently that's what matters.
Because this tournament's in Chicago.
Right.
What
So
day
that's
would that be?
Friday, March 10th.
Oh, man.
But now the game everybody cares about. Or did you want to say something?
Well, I was just going to say that's why I brought that up, because we are, as a pod, all in agreement. Purdue's going to win, and yet here I am telling you, I am going to be devastated.
I'm going to be so mad
I
Friday.
know it's going to happen, but if they could beat Purdue, they would be in the tournament, and then we can, like, for just a minute, we can forget everything behind, and there's only hope. But it's not going to happen, and then it's not going to make a difference. I'm going to be just destroyed.
Hey,
Can't wait.
We almost beat Purdue earlier this year without
Should've.
Jet. Without
Should've
Jet,
beat them.
this will answer the question: are we better or worse without Jet? So there we go.
That's all you need to answer that question.
Yep.
All right. Finally, the game everybody's been waiting for, the 5-seed Iowa Hawkeyes versus the 4-seed Michigan State Spartans.
Michigan State, revenge.
Yep.
I'm thinking so, too. Michigan
The
played
game's
ahead.
bigger than the Big Ten Tournament Championship. just kill the Hawkeyes.
It is funny. Michigan State fans want Iowa so bad that game, and that's going to be a good one. Michigan State, I think, is playing pretty good lately.
They're playing fantastic.
Their guard play has been like, we're stoked about Kobe Buffkin and like his clutchness. They've got some clutch guard play going on over there right now. So they like I think I tweeted it a week or two ago. Michigan State could be a sneaky March Madness team.
All righty. Seems we're all in agreement there. Moving on, we have an interesting matchup. Illinois, 7th seed, versus the 2nd seed, Northwestern.
Ooh.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah,
You're right, Trav. That bottom half is like
Crazy.
where all the intrigue is.
It's only going to get wilder.
I told you I can't quit Illinois, so I'm going to move them on.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same way. This team's seeding, I think, is well below. We always have that problem, below or high, whatever it means. They have 7, which is not very good for how good this team really is. Like I said, I don't know what their aspirations should really be. I mean, they should be high for the tournament, for the NCAA tournament. I don't know that they're going to make much of a run, but as far as the Big Ten tournament goes, I think they really should be playing for the championship. I have them moving on past Northwestern.
I hope Boo Booey drops 40 on Illinois.
I do too.
Also, did you know his real name is Daniel Richards?
That's way less cool.
I'm upset that you told me that.
I did not know
so
that.
sorry.
I'm just going to pretend that you didn't offer up that information.
Like,
We'll cut that later.
Yeah. Hey,
Daniel Richard dropped 40 for Northwestern. I'm cheering for Northwestern big time in that game.
yeah, Northwestern's my team.
But I think Illinois got him this time.
Northwestern and Texas. Yep.
Coach of the year at Northwestern and assistant coach of the year.
Yeah, that was the wrong call. Should have been Matt Painter.
Yeah, I voted on that. There was a poll I saw, and I voted Matt Painter as well.
All right, boys. A moment we've all been waiting for. We've got the number 3 Hoosiers of Indiana versus the 11 seed Nebraska Cornhuskers.
How did we get here?
I think we're all in agreement that the
Nebraska.
Cornhuskers are moving on.
They are not.
I'm comfortable letting them die here. That's quite a run for a team that might not even escape the first round.
Yeah.
Even if it's Maryland there, I think I like IU. And it's just like we talked about earlier, all these teams that Michigan should have beat, I tend to not think they're as good as they really are. But I also think that they're better than Maryland or Nebraska. So IU's good enough to move on to, what's that put them at, the semifinals or the finals?
That puts them in the semis. Because
Okay.
in the semis, we are going to have, on Saturday, the number 1 seed Purdue versus the number 4 seed Michigan State Spartans.
Be a fun game to watch if that happens.
That is tough. Michigan State is like the hottest team right now, but their biggest weakness is the center position.
Yeah. Zach Edey's going to drop 35 and 20 in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Sissoko.
I've got them at 35 and 17, but I'm thinking this. I'm thinking similarly, Trav. I got Purdue in that one.
What do you even do on defense for Michigan State? Do you put babyface Kohler on Edey, or do you like Sissoko? He can.
You've got to double them.
Yeah,
You have to, and that's gonna be your undoing as well. It's a catch-22, and that's why I just don't think Michigan State's gonna be able to hang in this one.
The only defense that Michigan State could have against Edie is to continue to shoot three-pointers at like 65%.
And it's March. It could happen.
So that's about where I see that. I'll predict Purdue, but I could totally, like Trav said, I could totally see it happening. Michigan State is a program traditionally situated to perform well this time of year. So, and Purdue is not. Sorry, Purdue.
Yeah, and like Izzo always does, he's got them playing well at the end of the year. I don't know. I like Purdue. You know me. I've been a Boilermaker fan my whole life. Yeah, Cody, you pick.
Oh, I already chose. I said Purdue's winning that one.
Oh, it's over then.
Yep.
You both picked Purdue. Good. Thanks.
Yep, no problem. Alrighty. Up next, we got Illinois, the 7 seed, versus Indiana, the 3 seed. This is another tricky matchup.
I'm going to take IU because of I lost his name.
Trace Jackson Davis.
The point guard.
No,
Hood-Schifino?
Jalen Hood-Schifino, I think, is going to be an X factor for IU, especially against Illinois, who doesn't really have a lot going for their guards right now with injuries and stuff like that. So I'll take IU, but that's going to be a fantastic game. When you start matching these up, you just get so excited about some of these games.
Yeah, this is going to be a great tournament.
Yeah.
I'm excited about tomorrow's games, which are bad teams.
That's sick. But I'm right there with you. That was good analysis, Brand. I'll take you one step further. Michigan took Illinois to double overtime. Didn't take Indiana to double overtime. So Indiana's the better team. Again, the not for me.
I can't. I think that's probably pretty flawless argument right there. So
I know Zach Edey won Player of the Year in the Big Ten, but Trace Jackson Davis, I think, might be the best player in the Big Ten.
He's frustrating to watch.
I'm not saying Zach Edey didn't deserve Player of the Year.
Talented.
I think Zach Edey did deserve Player of the Year. He was dominant, but like the things Trace Jackson Davis can do, he's awesome.
All right. Well, that brings us to the championship matchup of the number 1 seed Purdue Boilermakers versus the 3 seed Indiana Hoosiers. Who you guys got?
it's going to burn the state down. Holy cow.
Yeah.
That would be
Imagine
amazing
if they didn't move this tournament to Chicago this year and this was happening in Indianapolis like it should be.
I mean, it's not that far. It'll still probably be pretty rocking.
That's true.
There are probably worse things. But yeah, I'm
gonna go
with
chalk.
you. I'm with you. You're going chalk?
Yep.
Rock Chalk,
Boilermakers.
Jayhawk? The wrong tournament, Brand. Yeah, that's a
Well,
good pick.
they'll probably win their tournament too. But I think, I don't know. I think Purdue is just the complete team.
Mm-hmm.
And Zach Edey is Zach Edey. So
He's so good.
I'm fine with going the bracket method. I don't know if Indiana makes it this far. I could really see Illinois being there as well. Maybe even Northwestern. But on that top side of the bracket, I think it's got to be Purdue. I think
Purdue
of
or
all the
Michigan
teams,
State,
I think of all the
Yep.
teams to make it to the finals, Purdue is by far the most likely to be there. And like you said, they're just a complete team. Any team can get hot, but to make it all that way, nobody's got a better shot than Purdue. And I think that's a pretty logical choice to make.
That seals it.
If you guys were to say
Purdue
the three
eliminated
teams,
in their first game in the
first-
Big Ten Championship.
But real quick, IU owned the season, though, against Purdue. IU
which
has...
is why I think Purdue will win.
That's why?
Yeah, because it's hard to beat a team. What would be the third time, right?
I think they beat them twice, yeah.
Yeah, 3 times is real tough. It's not impossible, but it is hard.
It's hard, but at the same time, like, Purdue's recipe is pretty clear-cut. Like, Zach Edey, and hope that the Foster Lawyer does something decent, and Caleb First is an X factor. Like, who knows what if he's going to get you points or just rebounds and hustle play. I love Caleb First. I'm a big fan of his. I think he's my favorite Purdue player. But, yeah, the recipe is there to beat them, and IU has cooked that recipe up twice. So it's going to be a killer game, but I'm going chalk too.
If you had to pick 3 teams that you think, like you only could pick 3 that you think would have the best chances to win the tournament, who would you pick? Obviously Purdue, because we just picked them. Who's your next 2? Trav said maybe Michigan State.
I'm throwing Illinois in there.
Illinois.
Michigan State's tough. I think just because they got to go through Iowa, and Iowa
I'd say because they have to go through Purdue.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm putting them. If they get past Iowa, then they play Purdue, and they're up there in that top 4 teams. So it's either Michigan State or Illinois at that point for me.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's got to be Purdue, IU, and Illinois for me.
So one thing I like about this time of year is if you can correctly pick like 3 of the 4 final teams before the tournament, the odds that you're able to get on like FanDuel or DraftKings are pretty good. Where if you pick only like say 3, you can pretty much guarantee profit as long as it's one of those 3 teams that ends up with the hardware at the end of the tournament. So like I was able to do that last year with Iowa. And so if you have 3 that you're like, it's got to be one of these 3, you actually can make a little bit of money on it. And if it ends up being one of your longer shots, like Illinois right now, I think is, man, last I checked, I thought they were like plus 1,500 odds because they have to win, I think, 3 or 4 games compared to, the IUs or Purdue's have the double bye. So just something to consider if you've got 3 you really like. I could really see Michigan State making a run here. And I know they'd have to go through Purdue, which does give me some pause. But if Purdue's in that group, then I can just add Michigan State too because there's a good chance they match up with each other. So just some food for thought. This time of year, it's always fun to throw a few shekels and come away with some winners like Oral Roberts. Travis was a big fan of on the last pod, and they have pretty much officially at this point punched their ticket. So last I checked, they were up 30.
They're playing right now.
So that'll be a team that maybe we'll be riding hard on for that March Madness.
I just want to go back real quick. Did you say throw a few shekels?
Oh yeah,
not schmeckles.
No, not schmeckles. Shekels.
All right. Just wanted to clarify.
Well, March is officially here. There's already teams that have punched their ticket. It's Big Ten tournament starts today. Whew. Close us out, Code. This is exciting. I know it's not your favorite time of the year, but...
Yeah, I mean, some of us are grieving, but I do know that other people find this time of the year to be rather enthralling. So, regardless of how you're feeling, whether you're sad or you're happy, we appreciate you spending that time with us. I've been told that I've been closing these times out a little bit too hastily. So, how you guys doing? How you feeling? Let us know. Give us a call. We love hearing from you guys. 2345 Cody. It's the best way for you guys to interact with us on the pod. It's way more fun hearing your guys' voice on here. Mix it up a little bit. But we also appreciate all of you that are contributing to the mailbag, giving us that awesome content that we can talk about at the intro to the pod. I think that's been a great addition. We just also love all your additions in the Discord in general. So thank you guys all for your continuous contribution to our awesome community. And we're excited just to see where that continues to go from here. But for now, I hope you have a happy March. Hopefully Michigan doesn't break your heart for the 27th time this season. And we'll see you in a week or so to get back into that action and see what happens from there. So thanks for joining us, guys. And remember, Ohio really sucks.
Except for tomorrow when they beat... Oh, who are they even playing? Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. That's the whole reason.
Let's end it with Wisconsin sucks today.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thanks for joining us. And remember, Wisconsin sucks. Oh, that's kind of fun.
Bad.
That's
Cheers.
Oh.
Bye.